Aerys Targaryen, also known as the Mad King. Part 2. By this time, Aerys Targaryen had not yet earned the name the Mad King, but it was clear that he was devolving into madness. He was becoming increasingly distrustful, suspicious, and violent. But in 274 AC, his madness seemed to die down as his wife, Queen Rhaella, gave birth to a boy. This prince would be named Jaehaerys, after Aerys' own father. So profound was the king's joy that it seemed to restore him to his old self once again. But Prince Jaehaerys died later that same year, plunging Aerys into despair. In his black rage, he decided the babe's wet nurse was to blame and had the woman beheaded. Not long after, in a change of heart, Aerys announced that the boy was poisoned by his own mistress, the pretty young daughter of one of his household knights. The king had the girl and all her family tortured to death. Afterward, King Aerys regretted this and fasted for a fortnight, making a walk of repentance across the city to the Great Sept to pray with the High Septon. This was apparently pleasing to the Mother above, for in the following year, Queen Rhaella gave the king the second son that he had prayed for. Prince Viserys was born in 276 AC and became the only living brother to Prince Rhaegar. The birth of the prince, however, did not help Aerys' mental health. It only served to make him more fearful and obsessive. Though the new young princeling seemed healthy enough, the king was terrified lest he suffer the same fate as his brothers. Kingsguard knights were commanded to stand over him night and day to see that no one touched the boy without the king's leave. Even the queen herself was forbidden to be alone with the infant. When her milk dried up, Aerys insisted on having his own food taster suckle at the teats of the prince's wet nurse to ensure that the woman had not smeared poison on her nipples. It was in the same year that Lord Tywin Lannister held a tournament at Lannisport to celebrate the king's newborn son. Perhaps it was meant to be a gesture toward reconciliation on Tywin's part, for Lord Tywin and King Aerys had not been on good terms for years. King Aerys refused to attend and then relented, but the queen and her new son were detained back at King's Landing. There, seated on his throne in the shadow of Casterly Rock, the king cheered as his son, Prince Rhaegar, newly knighted, unhorsed both Tygett and Jaerion Lannister, Tywin Lannister's brothers, and even overcame the Ser Barristan the Bold, before falling to the Kingsguard knight Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. Perhaps seeking to gain the advantage of the king's high spirits, Lord Tywin chose that very night to suggest that it was past time the king's heir, Rhaegar, was wed and produced an heir of his own. He proposed his own daughter, Cersei, as wife for the crown prince. Aerys II rejected this proposal firmly, informing Lord Tywin that he was a good and valuable servant, yet a servant nonetheless. Nor did his grace agree to appoint Lord Tywin's son Jaime as squire to Prince Rhaegar. That honor he granted instead to the sons of several of his own favorites, men known to be no friends of House Lannister or the Hand. The tourney ended without a final feast, and Aerys departed, though Tywin would not forget the insult. Now it was plain to all that Aerys was already sliding rapidly into madness. However, true madness would only come during the defiance of Duskendale in 277 AC.